Hey fam, how you doing? Guess who we have? Da-da, the lovely, or I should say handsome, Mr. Andre Andrews, which is Dr. Faticia's husband. And he has so graciously said that he would join us and agreed to come in and join us. I didn't have to twist his arm too bad because we're dealing with issues with men and coming at it from so many different perspectives and backgrounds, and we're wanting to find out how the men are doing. I was talking to Brother Andre, and we were talking concerning children, his children. He has 3 sons. And the fact that he offered to let them stay home until it was that they got on their feet and they were comfortable going out there. Now, this is not typically how this happens in American families. You usually find it in, foreigners and whatnot, other nationalities, but it's not typical for American families, for their children, especially sons, to stay home. So I want to talk about that in the beginning. I want to talk about that while we're to start it off that way. Okay. Andre, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well.
You're doing wonderful. How was it? Tell me this. You said when you were married, when you first got married to your wife, Dr. Faticia, that your father said what?
He wanted me, my wife, and DeAndre, our eldest child, to move into the house with him. The house that I grew up in. But, being young, we just wanted to have our own space. And didn't think about, I should say, the importance of staying there and saving as much money as we could before going out. So, I try to, tell that to all the, to my 3 sons, look, don't move out the house until you're ready to really do it financially. I didn't want them to move out and be paycheck to paycheck or have to deal with that type of struggle before they really needed to, if it was able to be avoided. But, they're young people. So they decide anyway that they want to move out. So even like my middle son, he's still home with us. Davon is 26. And he's now decided, okay, well, I'm ready to start a career.
Okay, so with that being said, your children decided the same way you did, even though it was offered to them by you, because you offered the same thing that your father offered. They decided to do it on their own. But you have one. Didn't he leave? Your middle son, he left and then came back, right?
Yes, he left, moved up to New Jersey, where we're all originally from, and was up there for a few years. And I guess he got tired of being by himself and struggling so much financially. I didn't think he was going to last that long, to be honest. I figured 6-7 months tops, he's home.
Wow.
But 3 years. And so now, he's home, he's back in school, working on, thinking about getting his electrical license. So right now he's doing an electrical apprenticeship and he's getting an electrical certification. So, he's pulling things together, still talking about moving out. Okay. But we're trying to convince him to stay. He just got engaged. I'm like, look, get married, stay here. His fiance, I never know when she's at the house. She's so quiet. I don't know when she's there.
Yeah.
So.
But you guys have a big house.
Yes.
Don't you have 6 bedrooms?
6 bedrooms.
Okay.
So, you can lose people there.
Yeah.
You know, they go in their room, you don't know anybody's there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, you know, for me, my wife, family closeness is what we've always strived for.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up with a large family where, you know, all my cousins were always around and we always hung out at my grandmother's house. My wife's family is the same way, it's just a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
So having family around us was always, you know, a big important thing for us.
You're a family man.
Mm-hmm.
She's a family woman.
Yes.
That's good when both of you are the same. Because if it's not, then it creates problems.
Yes.
But you both have the same mindset, so that's really, really good.
Yeah.
What do you guys do to have time for yourself?
We go on date lunches.
Mm-hmm.
We used to do date nights, but you know.
Now, the older you get, you be like, man, please,
we
I'm
in our
going to
50s
bed.
now. We don't feel like
I ain't going out at night.
No. So we'll do date lunches where, you know, they used, like, when we didn't have the finances that we have now, date lunch would have just been McDonald's and been quite happy.
Mm-hmm.
Now we go out to other restaurants. We go do a lot of things, you know. This year we've been doing, like, SeaWorld. We'll go
wow.
there.
Okay.
So we bought annual passes to SeaWorld, and we go there
Mm-hmm.
every so often. We've done actually all the amusement parks here in Florida. I'm almost ashamed to say, but you know, she likes to go for walks on the beach, so we'll get up and just drive to Daytona Beach and
Mm-hmm.
park on the beach and go for a walk for an hour or two. And we make sure that we get time alone. We'll do movie time at home,
Mm-hmm.
where we'll just shut the door.
Yeah.
You know, and no one's going to even knock on the door when the door is shut unless they really need something. Even my grandkids, they just like, okay, they need time away from us.
Yeah. Wow, because you have a lot going on. You have a lot going on because you not only were you inviting your children to stay, and you have one in the house, but you also have your wife's pop, which is her grandfather
Mm-hmm.
and her mother.
Yes.
And you're dealing with family illness for your pop.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys have to take care of him.
Yes.
So you have family that's taking care of family. You've got so much going on within the house, and you've got schedules because of taking care of family.
Yes.
How do you guys breathe?
Very carefully. Like our house right now is a 4-generational home.
Yes, that's amazing.
And when the grandkids are there, there's the 5th generation.
Mm-hmm.
We all work together to take care of my wife's grandfather. He has Alzheimer's. So
Mm-hmm.
it takes a village to take care of someone with Alzheimer's.
Yeah, it does. And I told your wife, I'm like, I don't know how. But it's a good thing that she's in the medical profession as
Mhm.
well. So that's a plus.
Yes.
She knows what to look for. She knows, yeah. Because that's a lot.
It is a lot. And if it was just me and her, it would have been way too much. And if it was just her mom taking care of her grandfather, it would have been entirely too much. And
Impossible.
yes, and since he was always my wife's father figure,
Yeah.
she does not want him to go into a nursing home.
Mm-hmm.
So I just made the decision that, okay, we're moving to Florida. He has to come live with us
Mm-hmm.
because he wasn't able at that time. He was starting to not be able to take care of himself. I said, well, just bring him down here and we'll just have to figure it out as best we can.
Yeah.
And so, but he gets taken care of very well. He has fun. He loves when the grandkids are big, because our grandkids come and spend the summers.
Mm-hmm.
So he loves to come, when they're there, he likes to spend the whole time playing with them and stuff like that as much as he can. And, they enjoy spending time that they can with him as well.
Yeah. That's something. They don't feel like they're thrown away because everybody comes and sees them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, generations today, they don't really take care of their older family members like it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be, your grandparents were always taken care of.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, well, that's a big sacrifice. I can't do this, I can't do that. But there's enough of us at the house, between the four of us to work it out.
That's good, and that's a blessing for him. That is a blessing for you guys to have him there too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How do you then also balance? Do you ever get overwhelmed as a male? Because pretty much with men, everything falls on you guys' shoulders.
Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it, some things become overwhelming. Because, like, for instance, I have to have a kidney transplant. My kidneys don't function.
Mm-hmm.
So, it gets,
so that's even more on the plate.
yeah, it's a little bit more.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So, on the days that I just don't feel good, because overall, I can't complain. I'm doing pretty good. My wife takes incredible care of all of us at the house.
Mm-hmm.
There are those days when I get up and I'm like, okay, I just don't have the energy to do anything. Those days can be a little overwhelming,
Mm-hmm.
but, it's being an adult. You still know that you got to get up and go take care of certain things and then go lay back down in the bed.
Yeah.
But, it's life.
It's life.
We get along, we work everything out pretty good. Me and my wife, we have our, as I like to call them, our jobs around the house.
Mm-hmm.
She has her things that she takes care of. I have mine. They change over the course of the years. Like when our boys were small, she handled all the emotional things with them.
Mm-hmm.
I handled the discipline.
Yeah.
But I did that because I wanted them all to make sure that no matter what, they were going to take care of Mom.
Mm-hmm.
So as a result, all three of my sons are Mama's boys.
Mm-hmm.
They will call Mom 5-6 times a day. And they're always going to make sure that she's fine. And that was one of the things that I wanted to make sure that no matter what, that's what was going to get handled,
Yeah.
And so, that just all falls into the whole thing of how I wanted family to be.
Okay. So you had a family plan?
Kind of.
Or it developed along the way?
Yeah. What I wanted was my kids to have an upbringing like mine,
Mm-hmm.
but better.
Okay.
So when I met my wife, I met her in high school. So when I met her, she lived, ironically enough, right around the corner from her grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
But I never met her. She was close friends with a bunch of my cousins.
Uh-huh.
We just had some family rules, so I never met her. And
Mm-hmm.
so then, when I met her, I looked at her family. That was one of the things that I was looking at, because I knew that I would end up getting married early. That was my plan. We got married at, 23 when we got married.
Mm-hmm.
And so I looked at family. How was her upbringing with family? How was she with kids?
Mm-hmm.
Because in some ways I was looking for, I guess, attributes of my father
Okay.
in her. Because he's the nurturing one.
Oh.
But we'll be your the disciplinarian.
Uh-huh.
And she had all those things, and then she had the things that I liked about my mom. And I was like, okay, well, we could do this.
Yeah.
She wasn't as strict as my dad. My dad was a Marine, so we had lots of interesting rules at the house.
And that is amazing to me, because as a Marine, usually they are the ones who be like, go out and make your way in life. You gotta be a man, get to be a man by the time you're 18. You gotta figure it out, get out there and figure out who a man is by doing it yourself. And your father was opposite.
He was the complete opposite.
Yeah.
And my grandparents were like that.
Okay, so family dynamics.
Yeah.
How he grew up
Mm-hmm.
is what he in turn wanted for his children, the same way how you grew up.
Yep.
The same thing you turned around and wanted for your boys.
My sister's the same way.
Mm.
My brother's the same way.
Yeah.
You know, but it was just all that we really knew growing up was, you know, have the kids around you, have grandkids around you all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just take care of family. We don't get to see each other as much as we used to because I live in Florida, but they come down a couple of times a year, and we'll all get together.
Wow. Answer this question. Do you regret, or you wish you would have, or did you learn from and benefited from going out on your own at a young age, as opposed to staying in the house?
I think that one thing I will say I regret is paying a lot of money in rent. You know, I look at paying rent as throwing money into a black hole, and at the end you have nothing. You had some place to live, but you have nothing now at the end of that lease.
Yeah.
So I wish I had stayed home longer and been able to purchase a home as soon as I moved out of the house.
Gotcha.
Instead of spending a few years paying rent in apartments. And didn't really like that. But also, well, we always had a lot of support. Because, you know, we were young with our oldest child. And maybe a little bit more support with how to raise a kid. Because I call our oldest son our experimental child.
Yeah.
Because we knew absolutely nothing in how to take care of a child. You know, I had a younger brother that's 10 years younger than me. And in some ways, yeah, that's like dealing with a small kid, but it's so much different when raising your own. You know, he jokes around now saying that we experimented on him and we didn't do the same things with him that we did with his two brothers.
That's the same with everybody. The oldest one is always the experiment child.
Just the experimental one.
Yeah.
But, you know, all in all, I'd have to say, aside from the rent thing, that's probably the biggest thing, not being able to purchase a home as soon as we moved out. I didn't see the importance of it.
Yeah. But you grew together in the struggle.
Yes.
To maintain your lifestyle and to get to where you are. I think that it's benefits on both ends. I think it's benefits for parents who allow their children to stay home. Some people allow their children to stay home because my husband has a brother that's in his 40s and he's still home. No, he's 50 and never left because his parents let him stay. You know what I'm saying? And then my brother, Samuel, who just died, he had seizures, so my mom didn't want him to be on his own, but he wanted to be on his own. He died at 44? He was 44. 42. He died at 42 at the time, because it's been 2 years now. It's coming from the second year. So he died at 42. But he lived on his own. He went to Atlanta, moved out, you know, lived by himself, finally got away from the house. I think he was like 35? No. He was 32. And then my father had a stroke and he came back home. They helped take care of my father. But yeah, he moved out and he was 31, 32. Stayed in Atlanta for a year and something, almost 2 years. Became engaged and all of that stuff. And then he was getting ready to get his own place again right before he died. You know, it was beneficial for him because of what he was going through, but it's not beneficial for my brother-in-law who's 50. Now he's there because he's now taking care of his mother, you know. she's in the house and she's older, lost my father-in-law, so now he's there. I think he moved out for a year. I think it was about a year, and then he moved back in. So I can see both sides, but I also know what it's like being in a struggle, forging that relationship, having to depend on just your partner.
Mm-hmm.
But there's nothing like being in a struggle with that person. You're building, forging. It's you against the world.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have nobody else to lean on. You know what I'm saying? You don't have anybody else. You don't have no backup. Now you have backup if you go and say, "Hey, we need some help
But
in this area." But
you don't have a backup plan.
Yeah, you're making the plan as you go.
Because when my kidneys shut down, we sold our house in New Jersey and moved to Tennessee because she was like, okay, well, we have to do something different. And she decided she was going to go back to school and be a nurse practitioner. So we moved to Tennessee. It was just me, her, and the kids.
Yeah.
In a state where we knew absolutely nobody.
Whoa.
So we really learned, we always tried to, our lookout has always been me and her against the world.
Yeah.
So I tell my kids, I've always told them that one day it's going to be them three and them three alone against the world. So we've always forced the closeness to them. And so it's always been, we didn't really rely on outside too much. We could call our parents up and be like, okay, well, this is going on or that's going on. We always tried to work it out ourselves.
Yeah.
And we didn't hide any of these things from the kids when we were struggling and things like that.
Yeah.
And so our kids, they try to work everything out themselves before calling us to say, okay, I got this problem going on.
Yeah.
Which I like. I'd rather them try to fix it instead of calling us to fix problems. And then, later on in life, if we're not here or we're unable to fix it, they don't know how to fix their own problems.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think that those are just lessons that kids need to learn, especially, I shouldn't say especially boys, but I have all boys, so. But,
no, especially men. Yeah,
there's some, things that young men aren't taught anymore. Like, know how to use, the basic of power tools. Or for my kids, before they could get a permit to drive a car, they had to learn how to change the oil, do brakes.
Okay.
Change air filters, change a tire. I just felt as though those were things that they should learn. They were things that me and my brothers and my sister had to know before we were allowed to drive. And because, you don't want your 20-year-old son calling you saying, I got a flat tire, can you come get me off the highway? No,
but they're doing that though.
Yes.
I'm seeing so many young men not know basic survival things. They just basic things.
Yes. And so you see that eventually these young men are going to become parents. And so they need to be able to teach their kids things. So that's why we forced our kids to learn different things. It's what my father did. Me and my brothers or my sister got in trouble doing something, we learned how to use a new tool. That was his forms of punishment. We had to learn how to
use a tool. Man, that's really good.
If we had energy to get in trouble, we had energy to learn to do something. So we learned how to build all kinds of things, do all kinds of different things because we got in trouble a little too often. But
wow. Man, that's really good. I like that though. Teaching you how to build something because you're in trouble.
Yeah. Because eventually you're going to own your own home.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to do some repairs or pay somebody all the time.
Speaking of which, I want to see if we can edit in this segment. I'm talking to the executive producer right now, guys, but anyway, this is still part of we're not cutting this out. They took, and I watched them on Facebook where they painted their own house. they redid the fencing and stuff. And I'm watching you guys on these big, what you call that thing? It was a crane.
It was a man lift.
A man lift?
Man lift. A scissor lift.
Okay. And getting up there and painting, because their house is real tall, painting the whole entire house. I mean, you did everything. You prepped it, then you painted it,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was you and all your kids.
Yes.
And your wife.
Yep.
And your mother-in-law
And
was
my
out.
mother-in-law.
Yeah. And they had that whole family project. And I was just fascinated. I'm like, look at this. The whole family painted this whole house. And then you guys did the fence and then y'all cleared out. What all did y'all do?
Yeah, we built a fence around the yard. We painted the house. Cut down a couple of trees.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Cleared out a lot of brush.
Yeah.
We just took a month. I had told my wife, call all the kids, tell them they all have to come home.
Mm-hmm.
Adjust their schedules to be able to help. So my oldest son, he lives in Tennessee. He came and stayed, I think it was like 3 weeks with us.
Wow.
So we just took the time
And then your son from Orlando.
yeah, he came up
Yes.
every day that he had off from work.
Uh-huh.
He drove up and helped us out. And the one son was living with us, so he would help before work
Mm-hmm.
and all his days off.
Yeah.
And then even his fiance, she got out there and was painting.
Yeah.
So, it was a family affair, but I told them they had no choice but to come help. And they know I'm too cheap to pay somebody to do it. But, they all learned that, hey, we can paint a house if we need to. Or
Uh-huh.
it isn't that hard to cut down a tree.
Yeah.
Or, we can build a fence.
Mm-hmm.
But the fence was a little bit more work than we all thought it was because of how my wife wanted it. They don't have no pre-made panels. So
Uh-huh.
we had to build the fence one piece of wood at a time.
What you say? I did not know you guys was building that fence one piece at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, that is pretty neat. I know you all had such a great sense of accomplishment when it was all over with.
Oh, yeah. My wife was having fun. She was documenting everything, videotaping it.
Yes, she
taking
was.
pictures.
Yes, she was. And I was there for it. I was there for it. I'm like, whoa, this is so wholesome. Wholesome. Wow. Yeah, that brought me a lot of joy.
Yeah, well, that's, that was part of my upbringing. My dad was, when he left the Marine Corps, he was a steel worker. So everything for him was hands-on, which made everything for us hands-on.
Hands-on, yeah. What did the neighbors say? Seeing everybody out there like that.
They were surprised.
Yeah, because they probably saying, why them people won't get a contractor?
Yeah.
These black people out here messing up the neighborhood. They probably thought the house was going to be all jacked up and stuff.
Yeah, when they seen the equipment rental company pull up and
Uh-huh.
drop this big old thing off in front of my house, I was like, what in the world?
What's going on here?
Yeah, but it was just one of those things. I didn't want to pay nobody almost $10,000 to paint a house when we could do it for, $3,000.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a great experience. We had a lot of fun at it. Would
Yeah.
we do it again? I don't know. But it was a great experience.
And what did they say when it was complete?
They were surprised. One of my neighbors was really surprised in how nice it came out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Now the question is, when are we going to paint the fence?
When you going to paint the fence?
Yeah.
Okay. The fence that y'all put up one
One
piece of wood, y'all had to.
plank of wood at a time.
Yeah. Wow. That was good. That was good. Thank you so much for sharing with us concerning your family.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
It was like I said, I got a lot of joy out of watching those videos. What advice would you give to someone who is starting out? They are wanting a family, or they have a family and they're young in the game of being a family man. What advice would you give them?
Be patient. I would say don't start a family till you're ready, but you may never feel as though you're ready
Yeah.
to start a family, especially when you're young. Raise your kids how you would have wanted to be raised.
That's good.
You know, some people say, my parents were too strict. I'm not going to be that strict on the kids. You still have to understand that there needs to be a balance somewhere. You know, we had a lot of fun with our kids because I tell people I'm the biggest child running around my house. But we were still strict on them. You know, they knew what they couldn't do. So, like my oldest son now, well, actually all three of them are like, okay, well, I see why y'all did what y'all did. Why y'all were strict like y'all were strict. But it helps them out later on when they get older. They know that there's rules. They can't be out in the street running wild, doing whatever they want to do, because then, you know, your kids end up caught up in the system, and you don't want your kids caught up in the system.
That's true. That's true.
Because once they get caught up in the system isn't really built or designed to
let you go.
Once you get in, it's designed to keep you there. And
yes.
I don't want to, you know, you never want to see your young boys or young girls caught up in that type of a system.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you know, I would definitely say be patient, you know. Find the mate that you want that has the attributes that you want to create the home life that you want.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the world beats you up. You don't want to come home and have to deal with a whole lot of fussing and fighting and carrying on. You know, I used to call our house my fortress of solitude. I'd go home and ignore everything else. Yeah. My siblings, my mom used to get mad because I'd go home and ignore everybody for a month or two at a time. Like, y'all getting on my nerves. I'm going to my fortress of solitude. I'll see you when I feel like venturing back out. You know, sometimes you need a break from the world. You come home from work, you want to just relax. You still have family things to do, but you don't want to be beat up like you were out in the world.
You don't want your mate beating you up.
No. You also don't want the kids beating you up. Because in today's time, you know, some of these parents are raising kids to be friends, and the kids, you know, now they look at you, oh, you're my friend and not really the parent. I can talk to you any way I want to. And, you know, you don't want to have all that going on.
That's the truth. Now that's the truth. Last question. Do you recommend people in this day and time getting married in their 20s?
I can't say it's for everybody. You have to be ready for it. Because marriage is work. It's not all fun and games and, you know, tiptoeing through the lilies or roses. It's a lot of work. And do I think it's for everybody? No. Some people need to grow up a little bit more before getting married. Some may be ready, you know, some are ready early in life. They're ready to just settle down and let's get married and let's start a family now. But the other ones, they still want to play games and this and that. That's, you can't really put that into a marriage.
Yeah. That's true. So they have to make sure they're ready.
Yes.
They're emotionally and mentally ready.
And they should do a whole bunch of marriage counseling.
Whole bunch.
Yes.
Yes.
It shouldn't be, okay, well, we're going to get married in 6 months and we're going to do 2 or 3 sessions of marriage counseling. I think they should do a whole year. You know, we didn't have much marital counseling before we got married. But after we got married, we went to a lot of marriage seminars and a lot of different marriage things just to make sure that we didn't have issues, that we were equipped to deal with everything.
Yeah. I think a lot of times people forget that since you are in marriage, that counseling is always an option. Meaning there are different phases to marriages. So therefore, you should always stay up. Marriage seminars, marital counseling, one-on-one with someone, books, that deal with marriage. They have board games. They have all kind of ways in which you can improve your communication with your spouse and things like that. So it's always working on your marriage while you're walking through life with your partner.
Because eventually the kids won't be there. It's just going to be the two of you.
Yes.
You're going to have to live with each other alone.
Yes. The kids are a buffer. When they leave, then it's like, who is this person?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I thank you so much, Mr. Andrews, Andre Andrews, guys, who have joined us here today, talking about the importance of family. Talking about how you raise your children, the dividends that pay off when you raise them the right way, meaning you are present, you have something to instill in them, character traits, just advice. I mean, fatherly advice. And not only just speaking and talking, but actually walking it out. Because some people can give great advice, but they don't walk it out themselves. So the kids are looking at, but you're telling me this, but look at what you're doing. You talking the talk, but you're not walking the walk. And so he's saying, be authentic in whatever you do, whatever your family dynamics are. Keep that communication lines open and the authenticity be there. So guys, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Hey Fam, how you doing? I'm Dr. Candace House. Until next time, we'll be here. See you later. Have a great one.